Hello and welcome to News Central TV. I'm Darshan Usman. Here are stories making rounds beyond the continent. Let's begin with the war in the Middle East, where Israel launched a large-scale operation on Wednesday in the occupied West Bank, where the army said it killed Palestinian fighters as the nearly 11-month-old Gaza war showed no signs of abating. The military said its forces killed 9 militants, while the Palestinian Red Crescent reported 10 deaths in the West Bank, where violence has surged during the war sparked by Gaza rulers Hamas's October 7th attack on Israel. Now, according to the Hamas's-run Territory Health Minister, the war has killed more than 40,000 people in Gaza and caused widespread destruction and displacement. Early Wednesday, Israel launched coordinated raids across 4 northern West Bank cities, Jenin, Nablus, Tubas, and Tulkarem, where the military has focused much of its recent operations against armed groups. In the meantime, the mother of a Palestinian boy, Abdel Abu al-Jadian, in Gaza's Deir al-Bala, who contracted polio a month ago, said it was because he did not receive the needed vaccinations. According to her, this is also due to the continuous displacement since the beginning of the war. Unrelenting air strikes by Israel more than 10 months into its war against Gaza rulers Hamas, restrictions of aid entering the besieged territory, and hot summer temperatures all threaten the viability of a life-saving inoculation drive in the besieged Palestinian territory.
عبد الرحمن من شهرين صار معاه استفراغ وسخونة وبطل يتحرك ولا يزحف ولا يمشي. توجهت فيه لمستشفى شهداء الأقصى وعلى مضادات حيوية ضلوا الأسبوعين. في الأسبوعين الأولى أخذوا منه عينة على الأردن إنه شكوا معاه مرض شلل الأطفال. بعد أسبوعين من مرضه بتفاجأ إنه الوزارة بترن عليها إنه عبد الرحمن هو الحالة الأولى في مرض شلل الأطفال. الخبر كان صعب كتير علينا وزعلنا على عبد الرحمن إنه فيش له علاجات هان. عبد الرحمن بسبب النزوح المستمر من بداية الحرب ما أخدش كفايته من التطعيمات وما أخدش حقه فيها فكان المرض قوي عليه.
Let's also tell you that the United Nations Security Council on Wednesday extended the mandate of the UN Peacekeeping Force in Lebanon for a year, calling for a de-escalation of a recent surge in violence between Israel and armed group Hezbollah. A unanimously adopted resolution said the Council decided to extend the present mandate of the United Nations Interim Force in Lebanon until August 31, 2025. With more than 10,000 personnel and peacekeeping force, the peacekeeping force has been stationed in Lebanon since 1978, with its role strengthened after a 33-day conflict between Hezbollah and Israel in 2006. Tensions have risen again since the October start of Israel's war in Gaza, with Hezbollah supporting the Palestinian armed group Hamas with operations in southern Lebanon, including daily exchanges of fire with Israeli troops. Meanwhile, the new Israeli ambassador to the UN, Dani Danon, has questioned the need to extend the mandate of the United Nations Interim Force in Lebanon, UNIFIL, for a further year. He argued that the rocket attack that killed 12 teenage children in the Israeli-annexed part of the Syrian Golan Heights at the end of July was a direct result of the failure of UNIFIL and the Lebanese government to implement the Council's resolutions.
Today, the Security Council is convening to renew UNIFIL's mandate. But what good does this mandate do when it fails so miserably to meet any of its objectives? On July 27th, in the northern town of Majd al-Shams, 12 innocent children were brutally murdered by Hezbollah, their lives stolen by Iranian-made missiles. This attack was a direct result of the failure of UNIFIL and the Lebanese government to implement.
We head to America now, where prosecutors have filed a revised indictment of Donald Trump, pressing ahead with bombshell charges that he tried to overturn the 2020 U.S. election after losing to Joe Biden. The superseding indictment retains the same four charges against Trump as in an earlier version, but takes into account a recent Supreme Court ruling that a former president has broad immunity from criminal prosecution. The new indictment of the 78-year-old Republican White House candidate is 36 pages long, down from 45 pages previously, and removes material affected by the immunity ruling from the conservative-dominated top court. It retains the same core, stating that Trump lost in 2020 but was determined to remain in power and attempted to subvert the results.
Today, an indictment was unsealed, charging Donald J. Trump with conspiring to defraud the United States, conspiring to disenfranchise voters, and conspiring and attempting to obstruct an official proceeding. The indictment was issued by a grand jury of citizens here in the District of Columbia, and it sets forth the crimes charged in detail. The attack on our nation's capital on January 6, 2021, was an unprecedented assault on the seat of American democracy. As described in the indictment, it was fueled by lies. Lies by the defendant targeted at obstructing a bedrock function of the U.S. government, the nation's process of collecting, counting, and certifying the results of the president.
Joining me to discuss this is a lawyer and foreign policy analyst, Bolu Michael B. Hello, Bolu. Thank you for joining us at this time.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Now, in what ways will the revised indictment shape public opinion about Donald Trump's candidacy in the forthcoming election?
Well, it's a new issue that's come up, and there are two categories of people. People who may focus, be more sensitive to his ethical, legal issues, may actually lose a level of trust for him. And then there's another category of people who President Joe Biden referred to as MAGA Republicans, the core supporters of President Donald Trump, may lead them to be more defiant and want to ensure that he gets elected. It may actually vex them because they may consider it as a political witch hunt or even political vendetta. They might see it as an untidy case in U.S. politics and want to prove a point that such kind of political corruption, in their view, should not be happening in the United States.
Now, you talked about, political witch hunts. Now, to what extent will the indictment's emphasis on Trump's efforts to overturn the 2020 election results alienate his core supporters? And I'm speaking particularly to those, who view the charges as politically driven.
So those who see the charges as politically motivated, it might just strengthen their defiance to ensure that Trump gets elected. And Trump has perpetually presented himself as the defender of the rights of the people, in the sense that he has described what he's going through as a political witch hunt or a political vendetta. And some may actually believe this stance. He has always said in his speeches that the Democrats are trying to take the rights of the people away, but he's just the one standing in the way. He's presenting himself as the savior of the people that is serving as a body shield against the people being hit by a bullet. And ironically, when he was given in his rally, he got hit by a bullet, and he stood up and he pumped up his fist in the air, asking the people to fight, fight, fight. That's a kind of something that is significant, that may actually work on the psyche of the people. It's an action that resonates with what he says in his speeches, and that could play out for him positively in the elections.
All right, how about the ongoing legal proceedings? How will it influence Trump's campaign tactics and his capacity to, rally supporters in the lead up to the elections?
Yes, he'll have to, re-strategize, meaning that his schedule is already going to be disrupted if he's going to appear in court. He may have a rally and it's clashing with a court proceeding. It might stress him out a little bit more. And, and I think the main impact that it has on his campaign is in his messaging. Now when he goes to rallies or he wants to make a press release, he will use the opportunity to address these issues in his speeches, which otherwise wouldn't have been the case if he didn't have such issues he's going through right now. He would have focused on the policies and try to rally voters rather than having to now include in his speeches trying to address the issues that is being brought against him.
Now, Bolu, there have been some confusion even within his camp and with the legal controversies and also media scrutiny surrounding the indictment, and all that. How will it impact Trump's ability to appeal, and also to swing voters or undecided voters in critical battleground states?
As the name implies, swing undecided voters. There'll be a category of people, two category of people. Among these people in the battleground states will be those who will be sensitive to his ethical issues or legal challenges and begin to lose trust for him, and by implication, may sway them towards Kamala Harris. And the second category of people, the core supporters, or who might become core supporters, those who believe that is politically motivated, may just dismiss his legal proceedings, and that may even get him some sympathy votes, from this category of people, and who are just tired that such thing is happening in America. They probably will feel that the political terrain is mucky, and just want to protest vote in favor of Donald Trump against the Democratic Party.
Okay, now just before we let you go, Bolu, what are the long-term implications, of the indictment for Trump's electoral viability, including the consequences of a conviction or an unresolved case during the election campaign?
As it stands right now, I mean, I can say that categorically and for sure that the case is already time bound, so it's going to remain unresolved. It cannot be solved until the next president takes the oath of office. So it's sort of a kind of a waste of time, so to speak. And if it ever gets resolved, the highest would be for him not to only make him ineligible to run for office. But he's already running for office, and he has wide-ranging immunity covering him. And also the American people would never want to see a former president, go to jail, because it rubs off poorly on the image of Americans. It's not inspiring to young kids, to kids in America, and for public policy reasons, they will never want that to be part of their history. So the case is time bound and definitely will remain unresolved even after the next president takes the oath of office.
All right. Well, thank you, Bolu, for speaking to us and also for your time.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Welcome back. In South America, after fire razed thousands of hectares of forest in Brazil's Sao Paulo state, the country's capital is experiencing high levels of smoke in the air, raising concerns among residents.
Aqui, depois que eu cheguei, já começou tudo de novo. Uma escarradeira, corrimento no nariz, uma espirradeira, é isso.
Com certeza me preocupa muito. É um problema para a saúde. Eu mesmo sofro com rinite e com o tempo seco já é ruim, com a fumaça agrava.
Sim, é pela primeira vez. Assim, tem 30 anos que eu moro aqui em Brasília, é a primeira vez que eu vejo esse fenômeno, essa fumaça toda, né?
A gente percebeu nesses dias, né, todo mundo percebendo um aumento, né, principalmente voltado a essas doenças respiratórias.
Venezuela's opposition called for mass rallies on Wednesday to press for recognition of its election victory 1 month after a presidential vote it claims was stolen by incumbent Nicolas Maduro. Now, it will be the 4th round of organized demonstrations held since the July 28 vote, which saw both sides claim victory, but Maduro declared the winner by the National Electoral Council, which is staffed mainly by his allies. A pro-Maduro rally is also due to take place in Caracas to celebrate his victory, and several avenues were closed off from early in the morning with riot police present. Several Latin American countries, the United States and the European Union have called on the electoral umpire to release polling station data to verify the election outcome, which the council said it could not do due to a computer hack. In Europe, British Prime Minister Keir Starmer and German Chancellor Olaf Scholz have announced a planned new treaty between the two countries that would aid a wider post-Brexit reset between the UK and the EU. Speaking in Berlin on his first bilateral trip since taking office last month, Starmer described the planned treaty as a once-in-a-generation opportunity and part of a wider reset in relations with the EU. On his part, Scholz said he welcomed Starmer's intention to seek a reset in the relationship to the European Union.
Dabei nicht bei Bekenntnissen belassen, sondern unsere Beziehung auf eine ganz neue Grundlage stellen. In den kommenden Monaten werden wir gemeinsam auf einen Vertrag hinarbeiten, der die ganze Bandbreite unserer Beziehungen reflektiert. Einen solchen Vertrag hat es zwischen Deutschland und dem Vereinigten Königreich noch nicht gegeben. Uns ist es auch wichtig, die Beziehung zwischen der Europäischen Union und Großbritannien weiterzuentwickeln. Ich freue mich über die Ankündigung von Keir Starmer, dass er einen Neustart im Verhältnis zur Europäischen Union suchen wird. Diese ausgestreckte Hand wollen wir ergreifen.
The fact that we've agreed the substance, the ambition and the pace of it today, I think, is very significant for both the UK and for Germany, and that's why I say it's a once-in-a-generation opportunity to take something of that order.
To some sad developments now in Asia, torrential rains in India have caused heavy flooding that killed at least 15 people since Monday. Rivers across the coastal western state of Gujarat have broken their banks and more than 23,000 people have been evacuated from their homes. Chief Minister Bhupendra Patel said in a social media post that fishing crews had been told not to venture into rough seas. Monsoon rains cause widespread destruction every year, but experts say climate change is shifting weather patterns and increasing the number of extreme weather events. The northeastern state of Tripura was battered by floods and landslides last week, with more than 20 people killed. Still in the country, thousands of protesters clashed in India's eastern city of Kolkata on Wednesday, where demonstrations seeking justice for a murdered doctor spiraled into violent street skirmishes between political rivals. The discovery of the 31-year-old doctor's bloodied body at a state-run hospital in Kolkata in August 9 stoked nationwide anger at the chronic issue of violence against women. That sparked strikes by medics and rallies backed by thousands of ordinary citizens across India, although many doctors have since returned to work. But repeated protests in West Bengal state capital Kolkata have transformed into clashes between the state's ruling All Indian Trinamool Congress and the opposition Bharatiya Janata Party.
Until we are getting the justice we need and the safety that are promised to us, and this movement will continue and will take more steps after this.
And we also want proper security and all the answers that are still going around that we are not getting. These are the common and prime demands that we want, and we want them to be addressed by our CM, by all the people who are being...
Thailand's main opposition leader on Wednesday accused judges of mounting a judicial coup after court rulings that ousted the kingdom's prime minister and dissolved its most popular party. Earlier this month, the Constitutional Court abolished the Progressive Move Forward Party and barred its leaders from politics before removing then Prime Minister Srettha Thavisin for ethical infractions. Thailand's politics over the last 2 decades have been marred by a brutal conflict between populist progressive parties and the kingdom's pro-military, pro-royalist elite. Natapong urged the international community not to stop in its criticism when Thailand breached democratic norms, saying the kingdom deserves to know when it is doing wrong.
Because you can see that the Constitutional Court has ousted the Prime Minister and also ousted the executive of Move Forward Party, and we call it like a judicial coup. So coup, the power that not accountable to the people overrule the executive branch and the legislative branch, which are elected by the people. So this is a sign that Thailand is not in the full democracy. Okay. The only thing that we are going to change is about the methodology or the approach, the details that we are going to make change in that law, in 112. But we are not going to change the principle. The principle is regarding to accept that the 112 law has the problem.
Now in sports, Ipswich Town have secured Luton winger Chiedozie Ogbene for £8 million, signing him to a 4-year deal. The Ireland international becomes Ipswich's 10th summer signing since their Premier League return. This move comes as a response to winger Wes Burns' hamstring injury sustained in their 2-0 defeat to Liverpool. Ogbene, who previously played for Cork, Limerick and Brentford, joined Luton from Rotherham last year on a free transfer and made a notable impact in the Premier League despite Luton's relegation. He netted 5 goals in 39 matches and was the second fastest player last season, reaching 36.93 kilometers per hour against Fulham. Ipswich, set to face AFC Wimbledon in the Carabao Cup, are also negotiating with Chelsea over striker Armando Broja ahead of the transfer deadline. And that's all on Beyond the Continent. Send your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number on the screen. Do follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I'm Darshan Usman.